Sorry, you guys, I got cut off by a software program. I got back on live on YouTube. I'm gonna wait till hopefully some of you come back. There was like 100 of you on live with me right now. So let me give you a couple of moments for those people to find their way back. I'm at Chaco Canyon Culture Center in the middle of the Southwest in New Mexico, and we're looking for alien craft. And tonight we were successful. We found a few swarms. There's Fajada Butte, and that looks like a blinker right there, what we call a blinker, a ship, an alien ship right there. Hi, you guys. I got cut off of YouTube. I just resurrected it. I'm kind of waiting for more of you guys to show up. There was like 100 of you. What you're looking at is the search for live alien ships here at Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. I'm looking at that blinker right there at the horizon. Let's see if he reacts to the laser. That's my other camera. And our focus point tonight is Fajada Butte, which is a part of the Chaco Canyon culture area. And it was known to have sacred ceremonies that were done on the top there. It's kind of spooky out here. Pitch black. Oh, there's a blinker right there. Hello. That's a good candidate for a craft right there. There's nothing in the sky to indicate it being an airplane. And you see it rotating the colors? Yeah, whitish, greenish, reddish. And he's reacting to my laser. I'm calling that a UFO right there. And he's right by the butte. So he'll probably disappear behind the butte there. Let's just watch to see if he pops out the other side. He's playing peekaboo. Peekaboo. I just got the Peak Dew battery for the Starlink Mini. Can't wait to use it. It'll allow me to backpack on top of the plateau behind me that overlooks Chaco Canyon. It should be epic. Yeah, Lazy Acres, I take great care not to use the laser against aircraft. I've been doing this for 4 years and have come up with a criteria to determine if in fact it is a craft. So we're just scanning the sky and, kind of the list of criteria I go over about determining a UFO is number one, where are you? Well, I'm in one of the most sacred Native American sites on the planet, Chaco Canyon. That right there, that energy, that history, makes it very conducive to looking for alien craft like I am. Second, is it rotating colors? And what I mean by that is, does my night vision, which does that, it translates infrared to color. If that object, that plasma ball, is rotating different colors and oscillates between being still and slightly moving, then it's moving into a more probability that in fact it is a UFO. And then lastly, if I hit it with my laser and it reacts, then it's a slam dunk. It's not human. So what I was about to do before this thing came down on me, my main focus is the Pajada Butte because there were sacred ceremonies that were done on the top. Do slowly is just pan to the west, and then behind me you'll see the entrance or the canyon into Chaco Canyon. And when we were here last, we saw orbs arise out of the ground in that vicinity. So we'll slowly pan to the west and see if there's any objects that we can actually see come out of the ground. Now, right there on the right, that's the plateau and kind of cliff landmark, and just to the left of it, that is where Chaco Canyon begins. It's so grainy and pixely because there's just no moonlight out here right now. There's nothing. And so the night vision starves for light. And by doing that, it gets pixelated. But my plan is to get a backpacking permit and hike on top of that plateau that overlooks Chaco Canyon and take the Starlink Mini and do a live from on top of that plateau. It'll be epic. Yeah, you're right. Perhaps right there, two blips. My motivation for doing this, you guys, is just to do my part for furthering disclosure, because that is the biggest event in human history, is that we're not alone. And because we're not alone, we need to unify as one species, like right now, so that we can be invited and ushered into what's called the Galactic Federation of Worlds. That's what's happening right now. And I had spoken about this earlier, but it was the idea that the main evolutionary factor of human consciousness elevation, could that be solar flares? Because their electromagnetic proton plasma cloud, affect our body, affect our bioelectric processes and our DNA. So is that the celestial clock we work on? And if so, then we could actually, as all of us right now, can be getting some kind of DNA upgrade from the solar flare. These are the open questions I have. I'm not saying anything definitively. But one of the reasons I came out tonight was just to see if for some reason I could see the northern lights, which I thought would be stupendous over the butte. So, yeah, part of this folklore and this history that's been reported by the indigenous and other archaeologic scholars is that there could be interpretation of what's happened here as being the result of the Nephilim, or, which resulted from the fallen angels. And these aren't religious statements. These are just because we lack the nomenclature to really talk about a sense of a universal theology based on quantum physics. We just don't have that knowledge and information base. So, we're left with good and evil, angels and demons, which is just not satisfactory, I believe, in trying to describe phenomena. Now, right there, we identified that earlier as a possible cluster or swarm of craft right there. You see that? So we'll just put it on there a little bit and see what happens. I see one on the lower left coming into the frame. So you see those multiple blinking objects. So you see a few prominent blinkers. I believe to the left might be a craft coming in. I'm not certain. Oh, here's one coming in from the right. Yeah, that could be a craft coming in. This one here. These two blinking. This one here. So let's just observe them for a little bit, see how they behave. If they change their blinking pattern, if they move in unison. We're at Chaco Canyon, a very renowned place for the indigenous here in the Southwest. One of their creation areas in their stories. It's very eerie being out here by yourself. Well, the rangers live in homes behind me, but all the lights are off. The park officially reopened today. Yeah, this is infrared filming. If you were just to use an iPhone or on a telescope or something, you wouldn't see these blinking objects at all. They don't appear except under infrared. Yeah, a friend of mine who was in the underground military projects once told me that you could have a relatively small-looking blinking ship like this, and when you go inside of it, it's the size of a football stadium. So we really have to change our way to perceive things, not just from physical size anymore. So when you say that the blinking from a mothership, you could absolutely be correct. Once you have the ability to create your own gravity and create a sphere of gravity around you, then you negate time. Time goes away. So, all of these changes in our perception and what's important, and all that is about to change, because when these entities, whether they be, spiritual or physical like us, we're now being introduced to a whole new kind of paradigm of reality that's not just matter. Because remember, matter in the universe is like 0.1 of what's out there. The other 99% of what's out there is energy, plasma. So you have to then acquaint yourself and have the perceptions to start thinking in those terms. So here we are, being bathed by a proton plasma field of energy from the sun right now that's pinching off our magnetic field. And I believe it's part of an ascension process. It's part of us being upgraded. So that was another motivating factor for me to come out here tonight. I was a little hesitant. I didn't want to leave my partner Tina alone in case the lights went out. We agreed that that probably is not going to happen. We probably won't have a massive grid cutoff because of the solar flare. But I invite you to think about the prophet. He's not a prophet, but he was a Catholic mystic, a saint, Padre Pio, who talks about the 3 days of darkness. And I don't think he necessarily got it from the Bible, but it's in the Bible too. So I forget what the source was, but when the sun does have a reset, when it flips its magnetic poles, And it may happen, during huge solar flares. Does it black out? Does it just, you know, blinks out for 3 days while it resets itself? So we could be in dark, so much rapid change, and you see so many people on the earth going through different kinds of mental changes that's hard to understand. Yeah, sorry about the pixelization. It's because this night vision camera really likes light, and there's no moonlight tonight. None. But I invite you to look at my short videos on Chaco that I just did last week, and they're incredible. You see a number of craft pass right over the butte. So here I'm in Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. On the same night, we're having tremendous geomagnetic storms. And that was one of my questions. Would that create a different reaction out of alien spacecraft tonight? Now, there's a possibility right there. That's looking in the direction of Chaco Canyon itself, which is a long, I think, 7 Mile canyon just to the left of that cliff. Now I'll slowly pan back to the south and see if we can see any individual craft blinking or a swarm of craft like we saw earlier. Super clear sky, but again, no moon. Yeah, bombastic. I also saw that booga-like metallic sphere here on the reservation, and strangely, when I saw it is when I was coming back to the reservation, and I actually saw it twice. One coming back from the north and one from the south into the reservation. As soon as I got into the reservation, it showed up in my car. So I just took it like, okay, well, they're greeting me back home. I guess one of the things I'm really learning about this whole experience is that the moment you have an inkling or a thought about the alien experience and what you directly have experienced, I believe they're immediately, oh, did you see that? Wow, that was a cool one. That was a large meteor. Nice. I love that. Just caught it. Yeah, Stone, did you see? We picked up a large meteor coming into the atmosphere. I love it. But what we saw the other night in that general area was that same effect, but from the ground up. And it was an orb. It was a clear plasma orb. Yeah, that was amazing. Oh, there's another one. Hey, we're picking up a meteor storm here. That was neat. Did you see it flame out? I believe it was a meteor what you were watching. Now, if it had come from the ground up, I'm packing. I'm out of here. Because that's what happened the other night when Tina was here. We saw that intensity of a glow coming out of the ground right next to Chaco Canyon. I'm facing pretty close to west. Oh, it went down, huh? Yeah, the ones that go up are concern me because that's not a meteor. Excuse me. That's Fajada Butte. That's where ceremonies were done on the top, and it's a giant sundial. Very, very complex astronomy that was done by the Anastasi. Well, once I get a low battery sign, because I've had three of them, I had to change the battery out 3 times. I'm probably gonna call it a night. I didn't realize it's already 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Mountain Time, and I got about a 3-hour drive ahead of me. But I wanted to come out here and share this with you guys on again with these huge geomagnetic storms going on, and it's going to snow on Sunday. So I don't know when I can get back out here. Hopefully sooner than later because this is a really special area. I'll show you Chaco Canyon live during the day. So what I'm doing is just panning the sky. I've already located a few swarms of craft. No northern lights of yet. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to pan behind me. I don't know how much you can see. That's the plateau that overlooks Chaco Canyon. It's a beautiful night. For those of you just here, I'm at Chaco Canyon on a darkened night. That's why the image is so pixelated. I apologize for that. We've seen a few swarms of ships out here. It's kind of eerie. What saves me is that right behind me are the rangers that sleep housing that take care of Chaco. So if they weren't here, it'd be a lot more spookier for me. I mean, I've been in front of actual aliens myself, so um, I just, I put on protection. I pray. I meditate, and I don't really get outwardly afraid or fearful. But you have to be cautious because you don't know what you're dealing with. So that's the plateau that overlooks Chaco Canyon. I'm going to come back here during the day and film it live for you, the audience. I did that a little bit today. It was very exciting. I got a lot of people all of a sudden online. Beautiful night sky. We saw a few meteors drop. That was very impressive. Aliens or demons? I don't think those are anywhere near the choices we have. Are they Pleiadians? Are they giant insects? Are they the fallen angels? I just don't think we have vocabulary yet to describe what our experience is going to be with these entities of another dimension, of another planet. I mean, if you have to travel vast distances to get here, then you're going faster than the speed of light. I mean, and that means you're defying time. I don't know how to wrap my head around that. But that's we're on the precipice of. Which it's so ironic because we seem to be stuck in a sense of generalizations about who we are, about our behaviors, about how we treat other. It's also illogical. Yeah, warp drives are space engines. I mean, Bob Lazar talked about element 115 and creating a gravity bubble around the ship. Um, do I believe that humans now have anti-gravity starships? Yes, I do. I believe that's been kept from us, that I believe they were made in the Wasatch Mountains in Utah, according to Robert Wood, who's a UFO researcher. So much has been kept from us. The real history has been kept from us. But, I think one of our huge advantages as humans is we're highly adaptable, and that we can find a way to move on. But what's key to all of that is that we have to find a way to just be all on the same page. So there's the butte. It looks like it's far away, but it's not really. It's only about 2 miles away, but it's a monster. It's just huge. Excuse the pixelization of the image. It's because this particular night vision really likes to have some source of outside light, the moon. And without the moon, it doesn't give you a very good image. But I have seen craft with this level of light. So I don't know when the moonrise is. It might be worth trying to stick around for it, but because it really changes the whole dynamic of the image when you've got the moonlight. People have commented like, well, you got a 1980s style camera. Well, no, I don't. This night vision chip came out maybe like 5 years ago, and I really like it because it translates infrared data to color. And so if a ship starts to rotate colors, you can immediately put it into the probability scale. Whereas if it were like I think it's called a Gen 4 military night vision, yeah, it's analog. It gives you great images, but it doesn't give you color rotation. So the latest version of this camera I'm actually getting next week, and it is used by special forces because of the color aspect. Oh, yeah, see it just blinked on the other side of the butte there. And I don't see, with my vision, I don't see a airplane. So I'm gonna hit it with the laser. And it reacted. Do you see it react? It reacted, and it's stationary. So I'm calling that now in probability an alien craft. You see how it's stopped moving? That's not an airplane. Okay, guys, there's the low battery sign. Oh, sorry. But I told myself if it came on again, that would be it. Let me back out here so we can get our bearings. So you got a close up of that blinking light. I believe that's an alien spacecraft right there because it moved from left to right. It then became stationary, and it reacted to my laser. So that eliminates an airplane. That eliminates a helicopter. There's no noise. So you witnessed an alien spaceship right there. Well, I get this one off eBay, but what you need to look for is infrared or ultraviolet. That way, there isn't a chance it can disturb regular air traffic and you won't get in trouble. If you look at my TikTok or my YouTube shorts, you're going to see crystal clear images of spacecraft, or plasma balls, I should say. I do have images of physical saucers that are exquisite in detail, and they're also in my profile on TikTok. There's been saucers that passed right over my head to check me out, and I believe one of them was actually Valiant Thor's spaceship. For UFO people out there who know Valiant Thor. Yeah, today I was just texting a very interesting organization. I won't say who. And I was mentioning to them, I have handled the Roswell crash pieces. There was a gentleman who, as a child, had picked up some of the Roswell crash pieces on Mac Brown's property because the father had known Mac Brazel. Anyway, I was able to get a hold of what's called the electron microscopy report of those pieces, and it's quite remarkable what the analysis says about the actual science of the pieces of the Roswell crash. I don't know why this man's story has not been out there in the UFO world, but he's legit, and I was trained as an electron microscopist, so I have an appreciation for the material science that was shown in that report. And it's essentially like 95% aluminum, but what makes it distinctive is there's like another 30 different elements that don't naturally come together in a soup, over time. They had to have been created in a kind of like a matrix within the aluminum. So, it goes back to the puzzling questions. What are we dealing with? Are we dealing with really humanoid-based kind of technology that's just way ahead of us? Or is it interdimensional? Are these beings a kind of energy source? Or not source, but a kind of energy existence? Like some of the passing thoughts I've had in discussions with people is, the numbers are outrageous. 2 trillion galaxies. Each galaxy could possibly have like 300 million Earth-like planets. So what does that mean? That means that anything you can possibly conceive in your mind, in your dreams, is probably true, is probably happening somewhere in the universe. Could be literally be thousands or tens of thousands of clones just like you living in a timeline, because the numbers are so outrageous. Almost any possible thing you can imagine or think of probably is true somewhere. If you look where the Earth is, it's at the outer edge of a galactic arm of our galaxy. And so we're somewhat isolated. Actually, we're almost being thrown out of the galaxy, um, but on a scale of millions of years. It's just that the numbers, the space that's out there, is so astronomical. No pun intended. Um, it's hard to conceive about. What are we doing? What's our life, existence about? One of the many things I've learned about my encounters with entities, including aliens and what I coin as divine entities, and you know, is that they're all around us at probably a different frequency of existence, but they're not out way out in space. They're literally walking. They could be walking right by us. When I first uh, saw an alien up close, it was like he was like in this kind of hazy halo-like appearance around him. Um, Actually, looked kind of ghoulish, but is he was like he was out of phase, if that's one way to put it. My highly detailed photos of craft, some of them are in my TikTok profile. You'll see a very distinctive saucer-shaped craft that passed over my car on Baja. And through a lot of searches and research, I found out that that was actually Valiant Thor's ship. Now, did he just by chance pass over my car, or was that some kind of message to me? I don't know. But I just didn't get here by accident. Being able to identify craft, having the right equipment, living in the right place, it was beyond my control. So I'm now taking that responsibility to, as best as I can, this phenomena to you live and share with you my thoughts and my opinions with my experiences, because they're quite lengthy, and there's a lot of things that have happened to me in a ethereal sense. Yeah, right now it seems pretty benign. I've been panning for like the last 10 minutes. I did see a swarm of ships earlier. What really is hindering right now is just because there's no moonlight, and so night vision's really struggling. Moonlight does make a difference because it almost adds like a reflective quality on the ships. Because you have to remember, even though you might be seeing a plasma ball, what's emanating the plasma ball is an actual metallic ship. All right, guys. Well, please stay tuned to my channel. I'm sorry there wasn't much happening. It's out of my control, really. That could be a swarm right there that I was talking about. Let me zoom into that. But I think you'll be entertained when I come back during the day and do a live of Chaco Canyon. I think that'll be monumental. And then hopefully with some moonlight here, there are a number of craft here. You'll see that in my previous Chaco Canyon videos. Yes, again, I do have high detailed images of craft on my profile on TikTok. I'm hoping in the course of these lives, as we're getting closer to open contact and open disclosure, talked about by a number of remote viewers, that I would be positioned well enough so that live contact would actually happen here on this YouTube channel. Well, all right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I thank you so much for being here. The lack of moonlight, I think, is really limiting my ability to show you as much craft as I believe are here. Please watch me on YouTube and TikTok. I'm now going to do this regularly. I've been doing it regularly for a couple months, and I've gotten really good response. My last Chaco video last week, I believe, is now around 130,000 views worldwide. And I believe that's the case because you can clearly see craft in those videos. I was hoping that that would happen tonight, but I didn't really think about the moonlight. But from what little you saw, again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And continue to visit my lives, and please watch my shorts. So take care. Love and peace to you all. Have a pleasant evening.